Success is not a secret hidden away for a lucky few. It is not reserved for the gifted, the privileged, or the perfectly connected. Success is something far more ordinary. And that is why it is so powerful. It is built in the quiet moments of the day, in the choices we make when no one is watching. You see, people often look for breakthroughs, for sudden miracles, for that one big moment that will change everything. But life doesn't change in a moment. It changes in a routine. What you do when the alarm goes off. What you choose when discipline is required. What you repeat day after day, whether you feel like it or not. Success does not come from intensity once in a while. It comes from consistency all the time. The smallest habits, when practiced faithfully, begin to compound. A little reading each day, a little effort each day, a little self-control each day. These are the simple actions that quietly build a remarkable life. The truth is, we are all practicing something. Every day, we are rehearsing our future through our habits. If you want a better life, it begins with better daily choices. Not tomorrow, not next year, today. When you understand this, success stops feeling mysterious and starts feeling reachable. It becomes a matter of discipline, responsibility, and patience. Because when you master your daily habits, you don't chase success. Success eventually finds you. Most people believe success is something rare, something reserved for a select few who were born with special advantages, intelligence, or luck. This belief is comforting in a strange way, because it allows people to explain failure without taking responsibility. But the truth is far simpler and far more demanding. Success is not the result of rare opportunities or extraordinary moments. It is the result of simple daily disciplines practiced over a long period of time. The difference between an average life and an exceptional one is usually not dramatic actions taken once in a while, but small, ordinary actions repeated consistently. Life has a quiet way of rewarding what is practiced daily. A person who reads a few pages every day may not feel smarter at the end of the week. But after a year, the difference is undeniable. A person who invests a small amount of effort into their health, mindset, or skills each day may not notice immediate changes, but over time, those efforts accumulate. Success grows the same way nature does, slowly, steadily, and predictably. It is not built through sudden explosions of effort, but through consistent care. Many people wait for motivation, confidence, or perfect conditions before they begin. They believe that if the opportunity were big enough or the moment felt right, they would finally act. But discipline works in the opposite direction. Action creates motivation. Consistent effort builds confidence. Daily practice prepares you for opportunities long before they arrive. When an opportunity finally shows up, it does not create success. It reveals the success that was already being built quietly through daily habits. What makes daily disciplines so powerful is their simplicity. They are not complicated or dramatic, which is why they are often ignored. Anyone can wake up a little earlier, learn something new, or choose effort over comfort for a short time. But very few people are willing to do these simple things consistently. The tragedy is not that success is difficult. The tragedy is that success is simple. and simplicity is often underestimated. People chase complexity, thinking it must be the answer, while ignoring the basic habits that actually change their lives. Daily disciplines also protect you from the danger of extremes. Working intensely for a few weeks and then quitting leads to frustration and burnout. Small, steady actions create balance and sustainability. They allow progress to continue even on difficult days, because the expectation is not perfection, but consistency. When effort becomes part of your daily routine, success stops feeling like pressure and starts feeling like progress. Another powerful truth about daily disciplines is that they shape identity. What you do repeatedly becomes part of who you are. A person who practices learning every day becomes a learner. A person who chooses responsibility every day becomes dependable. Over time, habits stop feeling like effort and start feeling like character. Success, then, is no longer something you chase. It becomes a reflection of who you have become through daily practice. Failure, in most cases, follows the same pattern as success, but in the opposite direction. Small acts of neglect, repeated daily, create disappointment. Skipping responsibility, avoiding effort, and choosing comfort over growth do not cause immediate damage, which is why they are dangerous. The cost shows up later, often when it feels too heavy to carry. Just as success is built quietly through daily disciplines, failure is also built quietly through daily excuses. When you truly understand that success is the result of simple daily disciplines, your perspective changes. You stop looking for shortcuts and start focusing on routines. You stop blaming circumstances and start adjusting habits. You stop waiting for the future and start working with today. The power to change your life becomes personal, practical, and immediate. This understanding brings freedom. You no longer feel dependent on luck, talent, or external approval. You realize that every day offers an opportunity to practice the habits that shape your future. Success stops being something mysterious and becomes something manageable. It is no longer about doing something extraordinary once, but about doing something ordinary with extraordinary consistency. Small habits may seem insignificant in the moment, almost too ordinary to matter. They rarely announce themselves with excitement or urgency, and because of that, they are often overlooked. Yet these small, repeated actions are quietly shaping the direction of life every single day. Long-term results are never the product of a single decision, but the outcome of thousands of small choices made consistently over time. What looks like overnight success is usually the result of years of unnoticed habits, finally showing their effect. The challenge with small habits is that their impact is delayed. When you choose to read a few pages, practice a skill for a short time, or show discipline in a small area, there is no immediate reward. The scale does not move right away. The recognition does not come instantly. Because the results are invisible at first, many people quit, assuming their effort does not matter. But growth is happening beneath the surface. Much like roots growing underground before a plant ever breaks through the soil. Consistency gives small habits their power. One positive action taken once has very little effect, but the same action repeated daily begins to compound. Over time, effort stacks on effort. Progress builds on progress, and what once felt minor becomes meaningful. This compounding effect works, whether the habits are positive or negative. Small acts of discipline create strength, while small acts of neglect create weakness. The direction may not be obvious in the short term, but it becomes unavoidable in the long term. Many people overestimate what they can achieve in a short period and underestimate what they can achieve over time. They set unrealistic expectations, push hard for a brief moment, and then feel discouraged when results do not come quickly. Small habits remove this pressure. They allow progress to be steady and sustainable. Instead of relying on bursts of motivation, they rely on structure and repetition. When habits are small, they are easier to maintain, even on days when energy and enthusiasm are low. Another powerful effect of small habits is how they change self-belief. Each time you keep a small promise to yourself, you reinforce trust in your own ability to follow through. Confidence does not come from big wins alone. It comes from knowing you can be relied upon in small matters. Over time, this self-trust grows, making larger challenges feel more manageable. You begin to see yourself as someone who finishes what they start, someone who shows up consistently. Small habits also create momentum. Once an action becomes part of your routine, it requires less mental effort to continue. What once felt like discipline begins to feel natural. This momentum often spills into other areas of life. A person who practices discipline in one area often finds it easier to apply it elsewhere. The habit becomes a standard, not an exception, and that standard quietly raises the quality of life. The danger of ignoring small habits is that decline follows the same pattern as growth. Missing one day seems harmless. Making a small excuse feels justified. But when those excuses repeat, they turn into patterns. Over time, these patterns shape outcomes just as powerfully as positive habits do. The difference is that decline is often gradual and unnoticed until the consequences become obvious. By then, the cost feels heavy, even though it was paid in small installments. Long-term success belongs to those who respect the power of small actions. They understand that greatness is not built through dramatic effort alone, but through faithful repetition of simple behaviors. They do not wait for perfect conditions or extraordinary motivation. They focus on what can be done today in a manageable way, and then they repeat it tomorrow. This patience separates those who merely start from those who eventually succeed. When you truly grasp that small habits shape long-term results, daily choices take on new meaning. Each action becomes a vote for the future you are creating. Every disciplined choice, no matter how minor it seems, moves you slightly closer to the life you want. Over time, those small movements add up, forming results that once felt distant and impossible. Most people give great attention to the big moments of life. They focus on major decisions, important events, and rare opportunities, believing that these are the turning points that determine success or failure. While those moments do matter, they are not what shape a life most deeply. What truly determines direction is what happens in the ordinary flow of each day. The small, repeated actions that fill most of our time carry far more weight than the occasional extraordinary effort. The danger lies not in doing too little once, but in doing too little consistently. Small neglect, repeated daily, produces ordinary problems. Small effort, repeated daily, produces extraordinary progress. The direction may not be obvious at first, but time reveals the truth. Life always aligns with the patterns that are practiced most often. When people finally achieve extraordinary outcomes, others often admire the result without understanding the process. They see the finish, but not the faithful steps that led there. What appears exceptional from the outside is usually the outcome of ordinary actions, honored every day. This understanding removes intimidation and replaces it with responsibility. Success no longer feels reserved for the few, but available to those willing to commit to consistency. When you embrace the idea that ordinary actions, done faithfully, create extraordinary outcomes, pressure disappears. You stop chasing dramatic change and start building steady progress. You focus less on doing something impressive and more on doing something consistent. In that quiet commitment, results begin to form naturally, steadily, and inevitably. Personal responsibility is the foundation upon which all progress is built. Without it, improvement becomes accidental, inconsistent, and dependent on circumstances beyond your control. With it, growth becomes intentional and steady. The moment a person accepts responsibility for their own life, they reclaim the power to change it. This acceptance is not about blame or guilt. It is about ownership. Ownership brings clarity, and clarity brings direction. Many people delay progress by focusing on what is outside their control. They point to the economy, their background, their lack of opportunity, or the behavior of others. While these factors may influence circumstances, they do not determine response. Progress begins when attention shifts from external explanations to internal choices. You may not control everything that happens to you, but you always control how you respond, and that response shapes your future. Taking responsibility changes the way you see problems. Instead of asking why something happened, you begin asking what can be done. This shift turns obstacles into assignments rather than excuses. Challenges no longer signal the end of effort. They become invitations to grow stronger, wiser, and more capable. Responsibility transforms frustration into purpose because it directs energy towards solutions instead of complaints. Another powerful effect of personal responsibility is the return of discipline. When you accept that your results are connected to your choices, discipline becomes meaningful rather than restrictive. You understand that daily effort is not punishment, it is investment. Each responsible choice contributes to a future you are intentionally creating. Over time, this mindset builds consistency because actions are no longer driven by mood or circumstance, but by commitment. Responsibility also restores self-respect. Keeping commitments to yourself, honoring your word, and following through on small promises builds inner confidence. This confidence is not based on praise or approval from others, but on trust in your own character. When you know you can rely on yourself, decision making becomes clearer and action becomes easier. Progress accelerates because doubt loses its grip. Blaming external factors may feel comforting in the short term, but it weakens long-term growth. Blame removes responsibility, and without responsibility, there is no power to change. When everything is someone else's fault, improvement becomes impossible. Responsibility, on the other hand, is empowering. It may feel demanding, but it places control back where it belongs. It allows you to influence outcomes through effort, learning, and persistence. Personal responsibility also improves relationships and opportunities. People who take ownership of their actions earn trust. They are seen as reliable, capable, and mature. Opportunities often flow toward those who demonstrate responsibility, because responsibility reduces risk. Employers, partners, and collaborators value individuals who do not make excuses, but instead focus on results. In this way, responsibility quietly opens doors that talent alone cannot. Another important truth is that responsibility must be practiced daily. It is not a single decision made once, but a standard upheld repeatedly. Each day presents choices, and each choice either reinforces responsibility or weakens it. Small decisions matter because they shape habits. Over time, these habits define character, and character determines destiny. Progress accelerates when responsibility is embraced early rather than late. Waiting for perfect conditions or external validation delays growth. Responsibility does not wait for permission. It begins where you are, with what you have. It focuses on improvement rather than comparison. This approach removes envy and replaces it with action. When responsibility becomes a way of life, motivation becomes less necessary. Action is no longer dependent on feeling inspired. It becomes a matter of principle. Principles provide stability in uncertain times. They guide behavior when emotions fluctuate. Responsibility rooted in principle creates resilience, allowing progress to continue even under pressure. Accepting personal responsibility does not guarantee ease, but it guarantees movement. It replaces helplessness with intention and confusion with clarity. Over time, this steady commitment to ownership reshapes circumstances, expands capability, and strengthens confidence, creating a life that reflects deliberate choices rather than accidental outcomes. Desire is easy to feel, but discipline is what turns desire into reality. Most people know what they want. They want better health, more freedom, stronger relationships, and greater success. Wanting, however, costs nothing. It makes no demands and requires no change. Discipline is different. Discipline asks for action when comfort is tempting and effort feels inconvenient. It is the quiet decision to choose what matters most over what feels good right now. Every day presents a choice between immediate pleasure and long-term reward. Comfort offers instant relief, while discipline promises future benefit. The challenge is that the future is invisible and comfort is immediate. This is why discipline feels difficult at first. It requires faith in outcomes that have not yet appeared. But over time, discipline proves itself. The sacrifices made today begin to show their value tomorrow, and what once felt like restriction becomes a source of freedom. Choosing what you want most over what you want now requires clarity. When goals are vague, discipline weakens. Clear goals give discipline direction. They remind you why effort matters when temptation arises. Without clarity, comfort wins easily. With clarity, discipline becomes purposeful. You are no longer saying no to something. You are saying yes to something greater. Discipline also strengthens with practice. At first, it feels like resistance. Each choice requires conscious effort, but repeated decisions build strength. What once felt challenging becomes normal. Discipline stops being a struggle and starts becoming part of identity. You no longer feel deprived. You feel aligned. This alignment creates confidence because actions match intentions. Many people misunderstand discipline as punishment, but true discipline is an act of self-respect. It is choosing growth over stagnation and progress over regret. Discipline protects your future self from the consequences of short-term indulgence. It is a form of care, not control. Those who understand this no longer see discipline as harsh. They see it as necessary. The absence of discipline has its own cost. Choosing comfort repeatedly may feel harmless, but comfort compounds just like discipline does. Small indulgences, when repeated, create habits. Habits shape outcomes. Over time, comfort leads to limitation, while discipline leads to expansion. The difference is rarely noticed at first, but it becomes obvious later. Discipline also creates momentum. Each discipline choice makes the next one easier. Progress builds confidence, and confidence reinforces commitment. This upward cycle contrasts sharply with the downward cycle created by avoidance and procrastination. Once discipline is established, it becomes a stabilizing force, guiding behavior even when motivation fades. Another important truth is that discipline does not remove joy, it refines it. Temporary pleasure often leaves regret, while disciplined effort creates satisfaction. The joy that comes from earned results is deeper and longer lasting than the joy of momentary comfort. Over time, preferences change. What once felt difficult begins to feel rewarding, and what once felt tempting loses its power. Discipline is not about perfection. It allows room for learning and adjustment. What matters is direction, not flawlessness. Consistent effort, even when imperfect, produces growth. Discipline keeps you moving forward rather than trapped in cycles of guilt and delay. Those who master discipline gain control over their time, energy, and choices. They are no longer driven by impulse alone. They act with intention. This control brings peace because life feels directed rather than reactive. Instead of constantly responding to circumstances, disciplined individuals shape circumstances through consistent behavior. When you choose discipline, you choose long-term fulfillment over short-term comfort. You accept temporary discomfort for lasting benefit. This choice, repeated daily, becomes the bridge between who you are and who you want to become, shaping results that reflect intention rather than impulse. Success rarely announces itself loudly. It does not arrive with fanfare or sudden recognition. Instead, it leaves quiet clues in the daily routines of those who achieve it. These clues are easy to miss because they are ordinary, consistent, and often unimpressive on the surface. Yet within these routines lie patterns that, when understood and practiced, lead to predictable results. Success is not mysterious, it is methodical. Every successful life is built on habits that support growth. These habits shape how time is used, how energy is managed, and how decisions are made. When you observe people who consistently progress, you will notice they do not rely on chance. They rely on structure. Their days are guided by routines that align with their goals. This alignment creates momentum, even when motivation fluctuates. Many people search for shortcuts, hoping to bypass the discipline of routine. They look for secret formulas or quick results, believing success must be hidden behind complexity. But success leaves its clues in simplicity. It shows up in regular learning, steady effort, and intentional use of time. These behaviors may not attract attention, but they produce results. Those who ignore them often wonder why progress feels elusive. Daily routines also reveal values. What you repeatedly do reflects what you truly prioritize. Time spent developing skills, improving health, or strengthening character signals commitment. Time spent avoiding responsibility or indulging in distraction signals neglect. Life responds accordingly. Results mirror routines, not intentions. Understanding this truth shifts focus from wishful thinking to practical action. Another important clue lies in how successful individuals handle setbacks. Their routines do not collapse under pressure. Instead, structure provides stability. When challenges arise, routine keeps progress moving. This resilience is not accidental. It is built through consistent practice. Routine becomes a safety net, catching progress before it falls apart. Success also leaves clues in the way people prepare rather than react. Preparation is a routine, not a reaction. Daily learning, reflection, and planning ensure readiness for opportunity. When opportunity appears, it does not create success. It reveals the preparation that has already taken place. Those without routines often miss opportunities because they are unprepared to act. Neglect leaves clues as well. Inconsistent routines, lack of structure, and repeated procrastination signal future difficulty. These patterns quietly shape outcomes just as strongly as positive habits do. The difference is that neglect often feels comfortable in the moment, while its consequences are delayed. By the time results appear, the habits that cause them are deeply ingrained. Routines also shape identity. What you practice daily becomes part of who you are. A person who follows routines of growth becomes disciplined and dependable. Over time, discipline feels natural rather than forced. Identity and behavior align, making progress sustainable. Success becomes a byproduct of character rather than effort alone. The power of routine lies in its predictability. When actions are repeated consistently, outcomes become easier to forecast. This predictability reduces anxiety and increases confidence. You no longer rely on hope alone. You rely on process. Process creates progress, and progress builds belief. Success does not demand perfection in routine, but it does demand consistency. Occasional deviation does not destroy results, but frequent abandonment does. Those who succeed return to their routines quickly after disruption. They understand that structure is a tool, not a prison. It supports growth rather than restricting it. When you begin to look for the clues success leaves behind, you stop chasing mystery and start building method. You realize that success is not hidden in rare moments, but visible in daily behavior. Each routine becomes a guidepost, pointing toward a future shaped by intention, discipline, and consistent effort, quietly forming results that reflect the habits practiced. Most often, long-term success is almost always misunderstood because people focus on what is visible and ignore what happens quietly beforehand. They notice achievements, recognition, and rewards, but they rarely see the years of preparation that made those outcomes possible. Before success ever becomes public, it is built privately through habits, discipline, and decisions made when no one is watching. The foundation is laid long before the results appear. Private effort is where growth truly begins. It happens in moments that seem insignificant, choosing to learn instead of being entertained, choosing to practice instead of procrastinate, choosing responsibility when comfort is available. These choices do not bring applause. They are unnoticed by others and sometimes even doubted by the person making them. Yet this unseen work is shaping ability, character, and confidence. One reason people struggle with long-term success is because they want validation too early. They want recognition before results, praise before progress. But growth does not work that way. Life requires proof before it offers rewards. The discipline practiced in private is the proof. It prepares you to handle success when it arrives. Without this preparation, success can feel overwhelming or temporary. Private preparation also builds resilience. When effort is made away from attention, it strengthens internal motivation. You learn to act without needing approval. This independence is essential for long-term progress because external encouragement is unreliable. There will be days when no one notices your effort. And there will be days when no one believes in your vision. Private discipline ensures that progress continues regardless. Another powerful aspect of unseen preparation is skill development. Skills are sharpened through repetition, not recognition. Mastery is built in practice sessions, study hours, and trial and error experiences that are rarely shared. By the time success becomes visible, the skill appears effortless, but that ease is the result of countless private repetitions. Long-term success also demands patience, and patience is developed in private. Waiting for results while continuing to work requires faith. This faith grows through consistency. Each day of quiet effort reinforces belief that progress is being made, even if evidence is not yet visible. This patience protects against quitting too soon, which is one of the greatest threats to success. Neglect in private has consequences as well. What is ignored today becomes a limitation tomorrow. Avoided effort, postponed discipline, and repeated excuses quietly weaken potential. The absence of preparation often shows up later as missed opportunities or inability to sustain success. What happens in private always reveals itself eventually. Private preparation shapes identity before it shapes outcomes. You become disciplined before you become successful. You become responsible before you become trusted. These internal changes are not visible at first, but they determine how success is handled later. Without this internal foundation, success can create pressure rather than freedom. The quiet nature of preparation also protects focus. When effort is private, it is less influenced by comparison. You are not distracted by how fast others are progressing or how they are perceived. Your attention stays on improvement rather than image. This focus allows deeper work and more meaningful progress. When success finally becomes public, it often appears sudden to others. They see the result, not the preparation. They see the reward, not the routine. This misunderstanding leads many to underestimate the value of daily discipline. But those who have built success privately know the truth. They understand that what looks like an arrival is actually a reveal. Long-term success is earned long before it is announced. It is constructed quietly through habits practiced daily, choices made consistently, and effort sustained without applause. By the time success shows itself to the world, it has already been lived in private for a long time.